In this episode of building the spaceship. And to do that, I'm going to be using this. It's a little toy gun. Hey! I would have had some footage of them working, but I broke them both. Straight away. It was accidental. They're just very thin plastic. I find when I'm working with toys, it's better to take them apart, see what's inside them, maybe use them later on, and then decide how and what parts I'm going to use in the actual build. Take this one for example. I wanted the barrel. I knew I wanted it to be the back end of the spaceship, so I started cutting that away. I even saved the little piece because I thought it looked like it'd make a cool exhaust. Now that I had the main piece for the back, what I was going to use for the engine, I decided I needed a nose because I wanted this thing to look sort of like a dogfighter, just a really interesting profile with lots of engines and guns. So I wanted something square to offset the round back. And I found this little wheelie bin toy, so I found myself a little intermediary piece, like something to join the two together so that I could build off that. I wasn't overall happy with the outcome, which I will change soon, but there's other stuff that I do which is more important, so you've got to see this like this for me to adjust it. It's a good thing with scratch building is you can find out what doesn't work as quickly as you find out what does work. So being able to change things on the fly and not having an actual plan can sometimes make things easier. I seem to have this thing when I was building, especially recently with everything that I've been doing, where sometimes I like having a plan for my builds, and other times I just like going wild and free and just seeing what I can come up with. Just let my imagination take me where it's going to go. It's a nice palette cleanser, and that's what this build was for me. It was a palette cleanser. I wanted something I could knock out and just see where it took me without having a plan for it in any shape or form. I was like, I want to build a rocket ship. Bam. Found the pieces, put them together. I've skipped some bits and just gone straight to cutting the bin in half and then splitting the bit that I'd cut in half down the middle, sticking it onto the sides to widen out the body at the front because I want the engines to swoop out. Aerodynamics. Although to be fair, at the end of this looks closer to a potato than it does something that's aerodynamic. Like a sharpened potato. So I was having a nightmare sticking anything to the bin. So I decided, obviously I'd sanded it down, I was still having issues, and decided, you know what, I'm just going to burn it with fire. Hopefully that'd make it work. So I got my little flambe torch out and give it a good once over. This is just a trick that I learned from watching other YouTube crafters like The Craftsman and Bill making stuff and Dan Does and all those other wild good ones like Boiler Habitat. Massive fan of them ones, and yeah, they seem to do it quite a lot, so I was like, yeah, let's have a go. I wish I knew what the actual chemical reaction was called so that I could tell you and make myself sound smart, but I don't. I could Google it, but I'm not going to. I used some more of the gun pieces to, again, widen it out. I wanted those sides looking big and chunky for rockets, jet engines. And I thought, maybe I could put some doors on either side, and I realised, if I'm making a starfighter or a rocket, I only really need a cockpit that looks like it can flap up and down. Why would a starfighter have doors on the sides? How naive I was. Anyway, so I ended up with these like weird little bally bits and I decided to just chop them off and stick some of the bit. That was a scratch bashing reference. I'm pretty much just naming all the YouTubers I watch. Well. Yeah. I miss his videos. I just like watching them. Doesn't do them very often now. Never finished his Warlord Titan. Gutted. I want to apologise for any blurry bits on the screen. I've changed the way I'm shooting my content now. So I was pretty much doing it on my phone, and now I've switched over completely to a DSLR, and I'm trying to work out the best shooting method for that. which is including the focus range. And because I don't like the way it looks when I have autofocus on, I'm shooting in manual, and then that means I've got like a certain range before things go in and out of focus, and I ain't exactly 100% on what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go. This is a new thing for me, so sometimes it's going to be a bit blurry, other times it should be spot on. As the shooting went on, I felt like I got better, so you are going to have some instances of blur, hopefully less so the further down the video you get, unless you're just listening to me talk, which is okay, I guess. So I found this piece of a toy fire truck that was like perfect for a cockpit. I cut that to size, I stuck it on top of a bin, but I wasn't happy with it, so I took the bin lid away, stuck it back down, perfect, just the way I wanted it. I didn't show it on the camera because I forgot to click record. So there you go, that's what happened. I ended up with this like little gap between the front of the ship, the starfighter, the rocket, whatever you want to call it, and the cockpit. I just couldn't fill this gap. I was stuck trying to work out what to do with it. I'll go back to it in a minute. I just want to show off, and this was me practicing close-ups. In the end, I settled on using some EVA film. And then, because I realised, I could use EVA film there, I thought, why not just use EVA film for some armour plates and hide those gaps? I've been making YouTube videos now for about 3 years, and it wasn't until this one I actually realised a big mistake I've been making. I've been technically using EVA wrong. So, I was just slapping it on and not thinking about where it went, and hoping for the best. But what I should have been doing was cutting slightly smaller squares out, trying to organise the placement so it fit more cohesively on the finished piece. Especially with this one, as I wanted to keep as much of that original shape that I'd made using the bits of plastic, but also add to it in the form of armour. And I feel like I might have done alright with it. I'll let you be the judge. You might comment, tell me what you think about the armour plating, my use of EVA, my under use of EVA, under or over actually, or overuse. Did I use too much? Could I have gone away with less? It's really up to you to decide. So now it's time to work on the piping. I was thinking about these. I was like, are they fuel pipes? And I was like, nah, they can't be fuel pipes. Maybe they're coolant pipes. I made them from floral wire. They got that silicone coat on them that just loves the paint. Also, they give me the thickness that I needed as well, because I wanted them to look thick and chunky, like they take a lot of heat out of the thing. Because I don't want them to be technically exhaust pipes. This isn't so much. I don't want it to be petrol powered. You know, I want it to be like battery run. Obviously, kick out a lot of heat, so it needs a lot of cooling. So air intakes as well as propulsion. Then after that, pretty simple. Went over myself a little bit, stuck on some random pieces here and there, and then yeah, it's time for gems and rivets. Let's go. Okay, so it's rivet time. I don't have xylophone money yet, but I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. If you're using DaVinci's Resolve like myself, you paste all the images into your timeline, you select all of them. You then right click on the mouse. At the top of the selections is make compound clip. You click on that. Once you've clicked on that, you right click again. You go into speed settings. You set it to 2000 and that's what you get. Buttery smooth rivet time. Okay, and that's pretty much us ready for paint. I'd like to apologise to anyone that upset that I've just told everyone how to do it. But hey, it's the whole point, isn't it? Teaching people how to do things. Tutorials! This video is taking longer than normal, and I'll explain for you why now. I'm going to stop the video over there. Okay? For now. I've racked my shoulder at work, so... and I haven't even... I've sprayed it, and that's all I've done. I don't often do these middle bits, but I kind of thought this is like important information that you should know. So yeah, I've wrecked my shoulder. I've still got a model to paint, and luckily my missus got me one of these to try. So
I guess I'm going to do a review on one of these now. See how I get on. Hopefully, I can actually get it painted nice. It might take me a bit longer. See how we get on. Alright, I'll have to take a break from editing so I can paint. And then, obviously this bit. There we go. Enjoy. Hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Comment. Wait.
So yeah, I sprained the ligaments and tendons in my shoulder, which meant painting was a little bit difficult. But we got through it. And here I am, finishing off the editing. Absolutely knackered. It's been a long couple of weeks. So at the moment, it looks like a piece of coal. Let's get that sorted. So here's some one-handed footage of me trying to use this extra hand. It's really hard to do, especially when you haven't got the motion in your arm that you normally have. Trying to set up. It feels like you need 3 hands just to put the model into the 3rd hand. Madness. This was alright. It is alright. And it probably would be great if it was just a regular size mini, but what I've made is just too heavy for it. So it just kept flipping and flopping everywhere. And so for the early stages it was okay, but the more in depth I got, the worse it got. So I had to switch over to a metallic one that had a weighted bottom so that it didn't flip. And the arms were stationary and not bendy. I do like it though, it is good. And I'll probably use it on something when I'm doing smaller miniatures, because it seems like it'd be really handy when you're gluing things together, just to hold them in positions, especially if they're quite precarious, like what I tend to make. So yeah, all in all, it's quality, and the grippers, they don't damage the plastic at all. Whereas with using a metal one like I do later on, I ended up scuffing and scratching the plastic, which is fine because it fits well with the aesthetic. Because I just put some rusty washers on there, but yeah, if you're doing something delicate that's lightweight, use this. Perfect for it. Otherwise, it's not strong enough. Although this one, on the other hand, that I found at the local bargain centre for $5.99, I was like, yep, take that. It even comes with a magnifying glass. Don't need the magnifying glass though, not for what I'm doing, because you're just getting it looking pretty as you can. Yeah. But this one is literally just fold out, clip on. I had no issues. I didn't have to adjust it, not once, other than to tip it forwards and backwards so I can get the underside. Made everything so much easier. Alright, now it's time for the story. So, seeing as I was only really making this for fun, obviously Anna hurt myself, so that wasn't great. I haven't had the time to write a story, so I'm just gonna... Now, with the world I'm building, I've done a lot about factions and places. I've really talked about what people do for fun. And I thought to myself, what if they gamble? Gambling in the right situation could be fun. Sometimes it's devastating, but in some situations it could be fun. And then I'm like, what would people gamble on? Maybe they gamble on a race. Maybe there's a competition. Maybe mechanics far and wide come to meet up in the middle of the desert and race their home-built DIY vehicles. Could be rockets like this one, cars, boats. I don't know, you make a boat fly. I made one drive. Well, not drive, I give it wheels. Maybe people bring weird, wonderful vehicles out into the desert. They race them for money, for prizes, but maybe for bits of scrap to make their vehicles better. I could have different competitions. So you could have ones that are based on speed. Maybe ones that are based on how heavily armoured something is. Its survivability. Or what even if rocket ship jousting was a thing? Maybe that could be why it's so heavily armoured at the front. Maybe that's why it's got 2 guns at the front and nothing to defend the back. Maybe it's not designed to be defended at the back. Maybe it's designed to fly directly at its opponent and shoot and hopefully make it to the other side. So yeah, It's called the Red Rocket. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be used in rocket ship chosen. Because that sounds like it'd be lots of fun to watch. That's the closest you get into a story in this episode anyway. Hope you like the idea I was going for. So on to painting. I'll talk about painting for a bit, because I need to talk about painting, because I learned a new trick and I'm well happy about it. So obviously we all know about placing pink underneath yellow to make it look more vibrant. So make the yellows look vibrant, obviously. So you've got pink, then yellow, vibrant yellow, yay. Well, I've went and I learned myself a new trick when it comes to blue. So if you paint it with a teal undercoat and then the blue that you want, and it should make the blue pop just that little bit more when it's dry. And you know what? It works. I found stippling the teal paint on worked best for me for coverage, because I didn't want it to be too thick, because I'm kind of a messy painter. Also did all this without being able to actually hold the model when I was painting it, which is sorry about my phone then, which is new to me. Hopefully not going to be permanent, obviously, because my arms pretty much back to normal at this point. I'm just got limited range of motion, but I can hold things and lift things up, sort of. It takes time. It's the joys of being in your days. And, you know, I'm waiting till the day I sneeze and do my back in, or fart and do my back in. One of the two. I'm leaning closer to the fart than the sneeze, I think. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. But yeah, I got distracted then. So teal and then the blue that you want to look vibrant on the actual model. So yeah. Now we're down to finishing touches. So for the finishing touches on this, I wanted to add different types of markings. I figured, considering it's built out of random bits of junk, maybe it's got some lettering from the old stuff on there. Maybe there's some stuff that the builders decided to add just for fun. I don't imagine the people building these to be 100% right. And also it adds character. I've been working with that a lot, like trying to find a way to make my miniatures just pop just a little bit more, just to add more life to them, make them more lived in. Because it's all well and good building something that looks like junk, but if it doesn't have any sort of like fun element to it, what's the point? I'm just building stuff out of plastic. I might as well just enjoy myself and try and add some more like overall character to what I'm building. So yeah, I've been working on graffitis, and with this I decided to use a fine liner pen, draw out what I wanted and then paint inside. Should have done it the other way around on the first one. Realised my mistake afterwards because the fine liner pen ran into the acrylic paint as soon as the acrylic paint touched it. I think it just activated it. So well, the best tip for me to give you, if you're going to be doing this yourself, is to paint the symbols on that you want and then draw around them with the pen. It just makes it look so much better. I mean, I could have tried brushing them on, but you know, I want to add character. I just don't want to spend my life doing hours of tedious work. It's about fun and enjoying yourself, and part of me enjoying myself is just working out how quickly I can do something. So yeah, adding graffiti, final touches. I didn't put a wash on this because I thought, why? It looks good enough without it. I don't need to add a wash. I was well happy with how this turned out, considering I did a one-handed paint job. Fantastic. So I keep saying it and then thinking to myself, well, don't you paint with one hand anyway? I'm like, no, you hold the model with one hand and you move it around and then you paint. This doesn't have a stand, so it's not like I'm using a stand for it. Well, I had a stand, but you know what I mean, I wasn't holding the stand. Sorry, I just keep making myself sound like an idiot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, drop a comment down below if you want me to talk about anything else. To be fair, I ain't got nothing else to do. Yeah, time for a spinny bit. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.